Your daily escape is brought to you by me, Cassie, with Oddball Escapes. This is the eye-catching St. Basil's Cathedral, located in Moscow. It is right off of the Red Square and faces the Kremlin's fortified complex, which is behind that red wall that you see in the photo. The cathedral is one of Moscow's most photographed sites, and that's probably because it's painted in all these bright colors. But did you know that it didn't look like this when it was first built? The original color was said to be white, possibly with some red, and with golden domes. The colorful exterior wasn't added until 200 years after it was built. So why did they change it? The addition of color was inspired by a biblical passage in the book of Revelation that describes the heavenly city. And to represent this passage, the facade and the domes were painted in stunning colors that you see today. Let's back up a moment to 1552. This is when Ivan the Terrible gave the orders to construct this cathedral. He was on a mission for military dominance, and they just won an important battle. And he decided to build this church in celebration. It only took 6 years to build, from 1555 to 1561. Now, it's unclear who the architect was, but it said that Ivan the Terrible lived up to his name and he blinded the architect so that the design could never be replicated. Yikes. It's hard to see here, but this cathedral is actually 9 churches in one. The original building featured 8 chapels, each with its own dome on top, and they were arranged around a centrally located 9th chapel. A 10th chapel was added on later. And all of the chapels are connected with narrow passageways and staircases. The layout is very symmetrical if you're looking at it from above, from the air. But from this angle, it looks asymmetrical, perhaps because the domes are all at different heights. And the domes most likely didn't look like this at first, perhaps not until a fire damaged the cathedral in the late 1500s. Nowadays, these onion-shaped domes are a feature of the Russian Orthodox Church. Back then, the domes were much flatter. It's not quite sure where the inspiration came from for the onion domes, but there's a theory that the shape allowed the snow to slide down the sides. It's perhaps a miracle that this church is still standing. During the War of 1812, the French wanted to destroy it. Napoleon's army plundered the building, and he told his army to destroy it while they were leaving Moscow. It's said that the army either ran out of time to demolish it, or it's said that they lit explosives, but the pouring rain extinguished the fuses. Then, in the early 1900s, the Soviet Union saw it as a threat to their anti-religious campaigns, so they confiscated the church. However, it was spared from being destroyed, and it was secularized and turned into a museum in 1928. And later, in 1990, it became designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site as part of the Moscow Kremlin and Red Square. Occasional church services were later allowed back into the cathedral after the Soviet Union was dissolved. So it's easy to see that St. Basil's Cathedral, with all its beautiful colors, comes with a fairly complicated history, but it remains a popular cultural symbol of Russia and one that cannot be missed on your trip to Moscow.